Thanks for joining us here live on News 6 Plus. I'm Lisa Bell.
And I'm Emily McLeod. We begin with our top story out of Washington, D.C. More tariffs that could impact you and your family announced by President Trump today. The president is imposing what are called reciprocal tariffs. So in a nutshell, he wants to raise U.S. tariffs to match what other countries charge on American exports. He's characterizing this as a declaration of economic independence in an effort to grow American manufacturing and become less reliant on foreign trade. In a Rose Garden address today, the president announced a baseline 10% tariff on virtually all imports from countries around the world. On top of that, he included a list of approximately 60 countries that will be slapped with additional individualized tariffs. Most economists have cautioned that tariffs could exacerbate inflation and slow consumer spending, as companies may end up passing the cost off to their consumers, but the president is charging ahead.
Jobs and factories will come roaring back into our country, and you see it happening already. We will supercharge our domestic industrial base. We will pry open foreign markets and break down foreign trade barriers. And ultimately, more production at home will mean stronger competition and lower prices for consumers.
In addition to the aforementioned tariffs, effective midnight, a 25% tariff will be imposed on all Ford-made automobiles. That takes place this evening.
Well, I researched some of the top items that could be most affected by all of these tariffs. Some of them you may use every day. So here's the list. We're talking about everything from agriculture and food prices, including apples and grapes, to vehicles, car parts, construction materials, even your insurance premium, because as auto prices go up, so does the need for more insurance coverage. I asked correspondent Karen Kafa in Washington, D.C., who may see the biggest impacts.
Well, it's typically the low and middle income Americans who will be feeling the squeeze the most, right? Those who have to be very cost conscious about their spending. That's where this will start to play into the economy overall because of consumer spending.
And right now on clickorlando.com, we have several resources if you are looking for more information about how these tariffs could impact your everyday life. That includes an article by content creator at News 6 Patty Tolley about the impact on Orlando's tourism industry. You can find that easily by typing the word tourism in the search bar on the homepage.
We went over to an auto shop here in Orlando to talk about how it would impact their auto parts, and they did say they were anticipating some increases potentially from these tariffs.
Yeah, we'll have to see in the coming months what sort of impacts we actually have.
Yeah. All right, let's get on over to meteorologist Jonathan Kegas. He is in our Pinpoint Weather Center. It has been a little toasty here in Central Florida.
I'll say, a little early, too. Yeah. Temperatures getting back to around 90 degrees over the past couple of days. We're going to keep that heat rolling for the remainder of this work. We can really ride on into your weekend. So hot, in fact, the sea breezes have ignited over the past couple of nights. Not as intense today, just a few thunderstorms right along the Alachua, Marion County line. Most of the lightning closer to Gainesville. So not really talking about anything coming into Ocala. We could see this line kind of zipper out just a little bit as it pushes back towards the Gulf, but everybody else on the drier side tonight, and that's how we will keep it again through most of your evening. Temperatures for the second day now in a row, 90 degrees we hit at the Orlando International Airport, about 10-ish degrees above where we should be for this time of the year. Again, the second 90-degree day of the year. We're likely going to add a third, a fourth, a fifth, and a sixth as we move forward into the weekend. If my days are right, I'll show you that 7-day forecast to confirm that coming up at about 6:47, guys.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Well, we hit the road today to a spot that a lot of people in Oviedo like to hang out, the Black Hammock, which sits along beautiful Lake Jessup.
One of the best ways to catch all the sights and sounds on Lake Jessup is by airboat. News 6's Mike DeForest shows us one of those sights is alligators.
With Jay Rivera at the controls, we took off on an airboat from the Black Hammock to skim along the surface of Lake Jessup.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
It did not take long for us to find ourselves surrounded.
And you got over 20 gators.
Over 20?
I mean, this is like perfect time to be out here. You can see all the alligators right on the lake.
Oh my
right
gosh.
in the open, too.
Rivera tells me there are more than 13,000 alligators in Lake Jessup. 13,000. That's the highest concentration of gators per acre anywhere in the state.
I mean, I've seen some 14, 15-foot alligators out here.
Rivera is the general manager of the Black Hammock, which offers a variety of airboat tours, including trips at night.
You just see a bunch of alligators out there. You just see all their eyes just kind of glowing.
Another highlight of the trip is Bird Island, a refuge in the middle of Lake Jessup that's often home to hundreds of birds.
Every ride is different. You never know what you're going to come across.
Lake Jessup is named in honor of Brigadier General Thomas Jessup, who began his 52-year career in the military just before the War of 1812, making him one of the longest-serving members of the U.S. Army.
Usually early in the morning you'll find local fishermen right on this area right here. They'll be out here fishing for like catfish, speck, tilapia.
Nowadays, Lake Jessup is popular with outdoor enthusiasts and people wanting to experience the wild side of Florida.
We've been seeing some jet skis out in the open as well. Pontoon
Folks
boats.
are jet skiing out among these alligators.
I've been seeing them.
You got to stay on the jet ski. Mike DeForest, News 6.
Now, if you did fall off your jet skis, chances are you might actually be able to stand up out there. Apparently, even though it is the largest lake in Seminole County, it's not very deep. The average depth is just 6 feet. Most parts are even shallower, so that is why an airboat is one of the best ways to get around. But if you fall off, you know, good luck. Yeah.
Like your foot's gonna touch a gator.
Mike was saying earlier that you could, potentially walk back to where I'm not walking in that lake. You're running. You're, trying to get away as fast as you can.
No, and 6 feet, Mike DeForest.
Correct.
Tall. You and I, we're underwater. We're still swimming. So
with those 13,000 other gators.
We're gator bait. We're toast.
I'll be back in Oviedo tomorrow as part of our live Hits the Road coverage. I'll be taking you inside a hidden gem in the community. So make sure to tune in tomorrow on News 6, clickorlando.com, and the News 6 Plus streaming app for your smart TV.
Because if someone goes in your backyard, you can blow their heads off. I have a right to protect my property and my house. Yes, ma'am. So you ain't coming back. Yes, ma'am. Ever. Yes, ma'am.
A terrifying encounter for 2 teens who just wanted to go fishing.
A woman who the Brevard County Sheriff's Office says was carrying a pellet gun is accused of ordering the 2 teens to the ground, and they were able to record it as it all happened.
59-year-old Donna Elkins said those kids were trespassing in her yard, but now she's facing charges of aggravated assault and false imprisonment. News 6's James Barbero has much more from the neighborhood in Viera.
Do you get people in your backyard?
Sometimes, ma'am.
That's definitely sad. Because if someone goes in your backyard, you can blow their heads off. I have a right to protect my property and my house. Yes, ma'am. So you ain't coming back. Yes, ma'am. Ever. Yes, ma'am.
And I don't think the boys will want to come back after that. I'm standing in front of Donna Elkins' house. The boys were in the back by the pond fishing, where the sheriff's office says they were actually 30 feet from Donna Elkins' property. This map from the county property appraiser gives you a better idea. Outlined within the blue is Elkins' property. Within the red is where the sheriff's office says the boys were fishing and looking at some birds too, when Elkins confronted them with that pellet gun and made them lie down.
You're not allowed to look at the birds. You don't walk in someone's backyard.
I'm sorry.
You don't walk into someone's backyard, private property.
Yes, ma'am.
Trespass.
One of the parents of the boys have given me permission to ask them about what happened. I have Braden on speakerphone right now. Hey Braden, this is James from Channel 6. I was wondering, how are you feeling? It's been almost a week since this happened.
I'm still pretty shaken up. I just can't believe it really happened. That I got a gun pulled on me.
And at the time, you didn't know this was just a pellet gun. The way she threatened you, according to the sheriff's office, you were really in fear for your life, like she could have shot and killed you.
Yes, sir. I was just terrified.
Also over the phone, Elkins told me she wants to tell her side of the story too, but when she's ready. An attorney tried defending her in front of Judge Kelly Ingram.
There's a little bit of an argument that they could just get up and run away. I mean, she wasn't physically blocking them or anything. She was kind of allegedly holding them.
The allegations are she's holding this gun. She told him, lay down, don't move. So I don't think she needs to physically hold them for false imprisonment.
And now that she's bonded out of the county jail, Elkins tells me she's receiving death threats. In Viera, Brevard County, I'm James Sparvero, getting results, News 6.
James, thank you. Well, bear hunting is a hotly contested issue across the state of Florida, and today Fish and Wildlife officials discussed a proposal for moving hunting forward. Now, according to FWC, under the new proposal, a quota would be established for each area of Florida for the number of bears allowed to be hunted. Here in Central Florida, that number for 2025 would be 18. Wildlife officials say licenses would be given out by a lottery system, and each license would allow the holder to take one bear before they would have to reapply the next year. According to FWC, hunters would be able to take one person along with them, and some would be allowed to hunt with dogs. Officials say other options included dog hunting and using game feeding stations to take the bears.
Still ahead, we are going inside an evidence room at a local police department after the new evidence tech there spent the last 2 years organizing it. That means throwing out unneeded items and, more importantly, making sure everything that is needed for court cases is there and preserved correctly. News 6's Eric Von Enken has the inside look coming up.
And it's a familiar name in a different location as Green Meadows Farm returns to Kissimmee. From petting pigs to bottle feeding lambs, the owner hopes their return is just the start for this green space. You're watching News 6 at 6:30 live on News 6 Plus. We're getting results in Cocoa, Kissimmee, and all of Central Florida. We'll be right back.
Brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places.
Wednesday evening traffic alert. Those storms last night really slowed down construction for us, but we're not expecting that again. So please make sure you're paying attention along the Florida Turnpike overnight. We'll see those left lane closures, and we'll see the right lane closures along 417 in Seminole County. No major delays really caused by this. We haven't had any crashes out here in a while, but the construction is there. So please make sure you're paying attention. I'm Trooper Steve with the News 6 traffic alert. Drive safely. I'll catch you in the morning.
All right, thank you, Trooper Steve. Well, only on 6 tonight, a look inside an evidence storage room that has been meticulously cleaned up, organized, and cataloged.
The Lady Lake Police Department brought in a retired officer, a very detail-oriented one, to sort through years' worth of evidence and make sure it's all there and preserved properly. So why is this so important? Well, it could be the difference between a conviction and a crook walking free. News 6's Eric Von Anken got the inside look at how the cleanup and categorizing is getting results protecting our community.
We are downstairs here in the Lady Lake Police Department, and this is the evidence room, and that gentleman is the evidence technician, Scott Kolb, who keeps all of this organized. It is an incredible undertaking. You'll see that in a minute. And the reason we're here today is because everything in here is critical to making a case.
So this is how the evidence comes into the police department. It comes in through the pass-through locker. So once the form's filled out and I assign a barcode to that item, I put the barcode also onto this form, and then I file it in a numerical order where I have it for easy access.
All of these forms represent all of the evidence in that room.
Correct.
That's how you keep track
That's
of it.
how you keep track of it. So this is the main storage unit where the bulk of our evidence is kept.
This looked very different just 2 short years ago.
It sure did.
So you walked into 6,000 pieces of evidence here, and you eliminate, I mean, I see the shelves, thousands of them. That must have been overwhelming.
It was. It's a team effort because I have to identify the item, meet with the supervisor, reviews the case to determine whether it can be retained or it can be purged.
Lady Lake Police Chief Steve Hunt. Chief, this is not a job for just anybody. It seems like Scott is a bit of a perfectionist. But you have to be, right?
Without any question, that you have to be detail-oriented, right? Because this is very, very important, and it's one place where we have great liability in making sure that everything is accurate, right? Because court cases depend on the accuracy of this room.
If you can't protect your evidence, you can't protect your community.
That's correct. It all combines together.
So this room here is our storage room where I keep all of our supplies that's used to secure the evidence.
How important is it to you what you do?
It's very important because we are there to help the person who has already been victimized once. It's our responsibility to make sure that we don't drop the ball along the way and that we can be there for that victim, because if we don't do our job, the case can't be prosecuted, and therefore then the victim is then victimized again.
And the criminal goes free.
The criminal could go free, absolutely.
Protecting our community in Lady Lake. Eric Von Anken getting results. News 6.
It's important stuff. Now, Scott, the evidence tech, even created his own organizational system to categorize everything. And he controls the humidity and the temperature in the room, and he even uses a fridge to preserve evidence that needs to stay cold.
Can you come to my house?
Right?
I got
Yeah,
some
he
stuff
could
that needs
start
to be
a
organized.
business there for sure.
All right, well, we're going to take a live look over downtown Orlando from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope camera. Beautiful evening. Looking at downtown Orlando, looking at our pretty little skyline out there. A couple clouds in the sky, not too bad. Meteorologist Jonathan Kangas is here with us.
Yeah,
right now.
not bad at all right now, right this second. Yeah, much drier than the last couple of nights as expected. We have one lone teeny tiny thunderstorm in Marion County. That's all she wrote. You see the nice clean sweep. Basically, on the radar picture tonight, and again, most of the lightning even on the Alachua side. We were talking about this last night at this time, that if there was going to be a shot for a couple of thunderstorms, it was going to be very, very close to I-75. These are going to blow back. So again, still for us in Ocala and the Villages, we're going to be watching for you over the next 20, 30 minutes, next hour or so for this area right along the I-75 corridor to kind of unzip, if you will. There we go, playing it out 7, 8 o'clock, and you see a few of those thunderstorms trying to get going. And as we move into 9, still even holding on to that opportunity. Again, mainly pinned right along the I-75 corridor. Those blow back off to the west towards the Gulf. That's 6, 7 o'clock. On your Thursday morning, things are looking nice and quiet. Watch out for some patchy fog again tomorrow. Otherwise, again, the rain is going to be out of here, and I think the rain is really out of here now for the next couple of days. That's 7 o'clock on your Thursday night. Tomorrow evening, we're looking pretty good as well with just a few passing clouds. Once we move forward into the afternoon, we will watch again temperatures rise big time Here's a live look in downtown Orlando with our Light Orlando Delivering Hope Skycam. We're back right now into the mid to upper 80s. The breeze out of the east-southeast at about 13 miles an hour as we watch the temperatures area-wide in the upper 80s. We're at 87 in the Villages, 89 in Ocala. We're at 80 in Palm Coast. 79, that's our cool spot in New Smyrna Beach. Now here's a look at your pinpoint, accurate forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by the Florida Lottery.
Temperatures tomorrow get back to the lower 70s in Mount Dora and Eustis. Good evening. We're back to the upper 70s by 10 o'clock, 84 by lunchtime. Just a few passing clouds. We're at 88 degrees by 2 o'clock as we're going to get really close to 90 once again. A lot of places, especially along I-75, going to touch 90. We're at 92 in Bushnell, 92 in Wildwood. Pushing 93 in Ocala and Denellen tomorrow. A big time chunk of high pressure. This is the cause of all the heat. It's building in from the Caribbean, and it's going to sit on top of us over the next couple of days, all the way really through about Saturday into Sunday. What this does is it deflects all the systems, all the weather systems back out towards our north and west. And as it sits on top of us, again, these weather features are about 15 to 20,000 feet above your head. It induces sinking air, and when air sinks, it warms up. So we get that compressional heating to help to get us back into the low to, in some cases, even mid-90s over the next few days. Right around 90 tomorrow, hanging around 90 on Friday. We'll jump into the lower 90s over the weekend. But if you're not a fan of this stuff, it's not over yet. The cooler weather, another cold front is looming out there Tuesday into Wednesday. That's going to move through Monday night. It's going to increase our rain chances a little bit. And then even down the line, we're going to keep some cooler air in the forecast. So again, at least to about Easter, we're not done with the cooler air, at least relatively speaking, just yet. Pushing 90 on Friday, staying around the 90s over the weekend. Rain chances going up Monday into Tuesday. That's our next cold front that does take our air temperatures back to a much more comfortable 78 degrees by Tuesday, guys.
All right. Thank you, Jonathan. As the city of Kissimmee continues working to turn 150 acres of land into a park with bike trails, playgrounds, and pavilions, and more, it's officially opened a petting farm.
Yeah, well, it's part of the new Lancaster Ranch Park. The farm is one you may have visited before. News 6's Stephanie Rodriguez joins us from Kissimmee with the grand return.
Green Meadows Petting Farm was a staple here in Osceola County for 3 decades, and now after several years, they're back right here on city property. From bottle feeding lambs to giving lettuce to pigs, the new Green Meadows Petting Farm at Lancaster Ranch Park is full of agriculture activity.
We have pigs, goats, sheep, chickens, rabbits, mules. We have ponies.
The original petting farm that opened in 1988 on Point Siena Boulevard closed years ago.
That's when the property was sold for development by the previous owners, and this farm has been 7 years in the making.
Owner Dan Keys says being able to give people a taste of farm life again is a blessing.
I mean, it's surreal.
The petting farm's relocation is part of Kissimmee's work to transform 150 acres of land into Lancaster Ranch Park.
I want to express our pride in delivering on the promise we made to this community: more green space, more family amenities, and more reason to fall in love with Kissimmee.
Now that they've officially opened their barns,
Here, kitty, kitty.
Keys welcomes everyone.
Follow me.
To join them down on the farm.
Have the kids play in the corn box, go down our slides, play in the tires. We have 10 tractors like this for the kids to sit on. You can take a wagon ride, a lot of fun.
The petting farm is just part of phase 1 of the Lancaster Ranch development. It's 150 acres in total. It'll have pavilions, playgrounds, dog parks, and much more. The city hopes to have enough funding secured to finish the project in the next 5 years. Reporting in Kissimmee, Stephanie Rodriguez, Getting Results, News 6.
So many people are going to be thrilled to see that making a comeback.
What a wonderful treasure to come back to Kissimmee. I know a lot of people will be taking their kids there.
Absolutely. We'll be right back.
For the first time in over a decade, the Florida Gators are headed to the college basketball Final Four. They were sent off from Gainesville earlier this afternoon. The team will be searching for their first title since winning back-to-back in the 05-06 and 06-07 seasons, led by star players like Walter Clayton Jr. And the Gators are taking on the Auburn Tigers Saturday night at 6:09. If you want to see the game, you can tune in right here on News 6.
And if you have plans for tonight, it should be a nice night to head out and about.
Absolutely. Just watching that one small area, I-75 from about the Villages to Denellen. A few storms popping there. Everywhere else looking nice, and it's looking toasty over the next few days, guys. Lower 90s into the weekend.
All right. Thanks for watching News 6 at 6:30. You can stream News 6 online anytime on our News 6 Plus Smart TV app.
Remember, we always break news on clickorlando.com. We'll see you tonight at 11. Have a great evening.